I just had a double lung transplant in September, so I'm about 8 months post-transplant. I live in South Portland, and I've been going to the main medical center, and I've been in part of the pediatric program and the adult cystic fibrosis clinic program. And I pretty much had my care there my entire life. I'm not working currently because I'm still healing from my transplant, but I do look to go back to work pretty soon. Other than that, I'm just taking care of myself and doing the best I can to have a good life. So I've been doing some traveling too, because obviously I wasn't able to do that very much before. So life is definitely different with 2 new lungs and no oxygen and no treatments. I'm pretty much on just medicine 4 times a day. It's a pretty rigorous amount of pills, more than just the CF. And I do want to say it's very important to remember that transplant is not a cure. You're treating one disease for another disease, so it is very important to take care of yourself as long as you can, especially nowadays with all the medicine that's coming out. That wasn't available when I was born, and life expectancy was a very, very small number back then. But the longer and more aggressive you are with taking care of yourself and doing your treatments, which I failed to do for many years, high school and college, I was not compliant. And I paid for that because my lungs declined very fast, and I had to look to transplant. And thank God that is available, because it is a freer motion for me, but it's trading one problem for another problem. I don't have to worry about the things I really did with CF, but I do still have the CF issues. But now I also have to worry about rejection, and that's a very scary thing to add into a world of coming from CF and worrying about all the CF things. And now we have this new thing to learn about, and it's so important to just listen to your parents, listen to your doctors, do your treatments, and it's also very important knowing, growing up and being born in this day and age, you have a bigger chance, you have a wider chance. But the best thing we have is social media. So you have the opportunity to get your kids involved with other CF kids, so they're not feeling so isolated and alone in high school, in middle school, in grade school. It's so important to have that aspect of they have a community online that they can go to and speak with other people that are just like them, so that when they're in school and they're feeling like none of my other friends have to do this stuff, none of my friends have to miss school and go to the hospital, they have the team online. They have people that love them and care about them and just know how they feel without even really putting too many words into it. And that saved me. Meeting other people online with cystic fibrosis was absolutely the most healing thing I've ever done in my life. And they're lifelong friends. And I think it's so important to encourage your kids to talk to other CFers. And it's not good to see them, obviously. We all know that in person because we all carry different germs and bacteria that we can cross. But having that online community, I swear, your kids will connect with people on a deeper level than you can connect with anyone. Just knowing what they're going through, talking about their hospital stays, and sharing their experiences is absolutely the most profound thing. And also, one other thing. Growing up and having to do these treatments and take this medicine is painful. It's hard. It's not something we can understand at such a young age. But if you take the time with your kid to explain that they're different, and don't make it a chore, don't yell at them, don't criticize them for not doing it, encourage them, make it fun, make it family time, make it movie time, let's do our best, let's watch a movie together. Let's, you took all your pills today without me telling you, here's a reward. Make it fun for them. Don't make it a burden. Don't make it a chore, because they're going to resent you for that. They'll get over it eventually, like I did. But nobody wants to be, it's not fun growing up feeling bad that you didn't do that, you didn't do this, and just make it fun, make it an experience, and try to be creative about it. Yes?
How out were you when you were growing up about CF?
I had a brother a year older than me who also had CF, and he had it a lot more severely than I did. So I watched him suffer, and my way of expressing that pain was not doing what I was supposed to do. And I rebelled because I felt guilty that I was healthier than he was. So I rebelled, and I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And in return, I paid for that on my own. In these last 5 years, I've literally woken up coughing to the point of throwing up. And I was like, he did this every morning when we were getting ready for school, and I didn't acknowledge it. I buried it, and I rebelled. And that's how I dealt with it. And that's not normal, it's not okay. That's how I did it. But I think it's also important if you recognize that in your kids, that you sit down with them and you tell them it's okay to have anger about it, but work through it with them.
What you're saying is a lot of normal teenage stuff, and every family struggles with that. I mean, you all struggle with that, it's hard. And then to turn it around. Now, Ashley herself turned it around pretty amazingly and began taking really good care of herself. But you lose that ground, and that's, I think, what she's trying to tell everyone is, don't go there.
You know, if you've got a good function, fight to keep it. And I think when I was younger, what I missed out on most was having someone like me come to a CF day and be able to listen to them and understand, you know, I burdened my future with a lot more pain than I probably would have had to have gone through if I would have been compliant all the years that were really crucial when my lung function was dropping drastically. So, I mean, consistency is key, and you gotta have something to fight for. And for me, it was my brother and my mom and my dad who dropped everything to take care of me. But I mean, we're all gonna have different motivations in life, and I think it's important to really work on recognizing what motivates you. Why do you want to be here? What do you want to do with your life? And know it's important to do the medications so that you can guarantee that future.
And a couple of things you said really, it takes a family, it takes a village. The combination of the family, you know, it's not just, it's a family illness. Everyone is involved in it, but also the piece of the social media. I'll never forget, I have a camp way up north, and I'm driving up there and got a phone call. Have you seen the Bangor Daily News? And there was a full-page article about Ashley in the Bangor Daily News, which I do happen to look at up there, of a book she participated in, and it was a book of beautiful woman. I forget the name of it. Breathe.
Salty Girls.
Salty Girls, that's it. And they have a website. And beautiful women with CF telling their story, and beautiful poses, beautiful pictures. And the Bangor Daily News featured Ashley's picture and Ashley's story. And it was lovely. But the more people share, I think, in my world, if kids don't want to share with their friends that they have CF, they can't take care of their CF. And that makes it harder. So the fact that, you know, Ashley came from a very small town, way up north, Robbinston, right? Mm-hmm. And to share that, and the burden of coming to clinic all the time. I will say, I don't think I ever heard Ashley's mother complain about driving to Portland. It was 4 hours. But they just, it was what they did. And I think that it's hard. And I think it gets harder sometimes, but one of the things we've learned from these education days is the best speakers we have that tend to do the best are people like Ashley. So I'd love people to ask questions.
The thing about having CF is, I think it's a scary thing, and everyone assumes it's a burden. It's a challenge, and it is an exceptional challenge, and I wouldn't trade a day of life for not having CF over having CF, because it absolutely has made me who I am. It's made me stronger. My family is the strongest. We love hard. We vacation hard. We're bonded. And I'm telling you, if you have a child coming into this world with cystic fibrosis, get ready to love the hardest you've ever loved in your life, and get ready to have the best time, because I'm telling you, memories don't matter as much when life is this fleeting and you don't have to worry about problems. When you have to worry about these things, you enjoy every little second you get, and every family moment, every laughter, every tear, every hurdle, every adventure. It's just priceless, and it will change you forever for the best way possible.
I have a question. Do you get to tell these teenage kids that were at that place where you were, do you get to tell them this stuff? Do you have a way to communicate with more people? Because everything I think of is you're helping me, I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, but you're helping me set up some things I really need to understand, but are you telling these kids this stuff, you guys need to do this?
I am very outspoken and very public with all my medical posts on Facebook. I have an Instagram account. I get emails from people all over the world through Facebook that I work on every day answering. I get a wide range. I get wives that are getting married to people with CF. I get newborn moms coming in, and I get teenagers. I get all kinds of things. I also have a YouTube channel, and I'm a part of. Have you guys ever heard of Ronnie Sharp? Yeah, I'm a part of his Cystic Blood program. It's another online community for cystic fibrosis people, and I think that's my favorite community because it's a very positive community to go to. It's for families and for children, so that's really a special one. There's a lot of Facebook groups, but I tend to get in them and then leave them because there's a lot of negativity in some of them. There's a lot of drug abuse you'll find with adult CF people, and they get on there and they're negative, and I don't like that. So if you are on a CF group with a child, monitor that more closely because a lot of people, teenagers and adults, that don't want to take care of themselves turn to the drugs to mask the pain, and that's not an easy way to go. So I would definitely go with a more like a community like Ronnie Sharp has, because that's a very positive community to be a part of, and that's probably my favorite one.
I think Ronnie Sharps is probably anyone's favorite who's been on it. Good to Google him, look it up.
He's amazing.
He's pretty amazing. Many of us have met him. He came here a few years ago and spoke. Also, The Runner is a pretty amazing community. Emily, the rock and roll drummer runner.
Roxy, yeah.
Roxy F.
Yeah.
She's another amazing person to follow because they're like Ashley, they take their CF and they're positive with it. Online, sometimes you have to be careful. Some people, they tell a sad story and it may or may not be true.
And there's a lot of posers on Facebook. You gotta be careful of that. Yes.
What was it like when you kind of like woke up after your transplant?
The first thing I was like, why is this big machine over me and I'm breathing over it, get it out of my mouth, but they took it out actually pretty fast. I was on a lot of pain medicine, so I was kind of just joking around, and my dad came in. I remember looking at him and going, am I alive? So I didn't know, it was all a little hazy, but once I started coming down off the pain medicine, it's not an instant gratification that you get because you're learning to breathe all over again. I was taking very shallow breaths because that's what I was conditioned to do. I was so trained to do that. So my oxygen saturation was staying low, and people kept yelling at me to take deep breaths. And I was like, I'm breathing just like I always have. Like, it's supposed to just work, but it didn't. It took some training to relearn how to breathe and take a deep breath. And after that, I remember getting up to walk for the first time, and all the fluid, it was painful, but once the fluid started going away, I was walking along, carrying a conversation and walking, which is nothing I ever did before. If I was walking, do not talk to me, I can't use my breath to talk to you, I needed to walk. So it was definitely a different element, but 8 months later, I'm still amazed by myself every day. I do worry though, I have more worries, and I'm not saying, I'm not promoting everyone just stop taking care of themselves and try to get a transplant, because that's not good. Take care of yourself. If transplant comes along and it has to be an option, go that road, fight for it. But again, it's trading one problem for another set of problems, so. Anybody else?
Hi. So thinking about the teenage years, for those who don't know, social worker in the pediatric and adult clinic. The teenage years are the hard years. It's when other priorities take place, or you don't want to, you want to do other things, or you start to rebel naturally. What can we as a care team do to support our teenagers, listen to them, meet them where they're at, but also know that we want to support them in taking care of themselves? And then what can parents do during those times when it's natural for kids and parents to butt heads anyway?
On on the caretaker level, I think growing up having what I had at the main medical, I always felt very comfortable talking with my social worker, but I often felt like it was a very repetitive conversation. It was never what's new, what's happening, like give me some details. So I think reasoning with them a little bit more and getting on their level definitely will help. Giving them resources and examples of other people in maybe the community that are doing what they're doing. Definitely encouraging them to remain active. I think those are the best options. I'm sure there's other ones out there, but for me, I think I was more touchable on an emotional level, so I think really getting emotional and asking them what hurts and what doesn't, and getting in there is the best way to work with them. But for parents with rebellious teenagers, I gotta say patience and consistency. And we got two really patient parents up front, my mom and dad. They went through a lot because I fought tooth and nail to be me and not listen to them. And I was bad. I did some bad stuff. But I also had an older brother going through a lot of pain, and I didn't know how to emotionally handle that. So if you have brother, sister, brother, you need to remember both of them. Even if one's sicker, you got someone else dealing with emotional level of shock and pain, and they might be showing it in different ways. And they're both special, and they both need to be told that. And I think I was lucky because I did have that, and I was treated, and I was always privy to my brother's health. I was able to be there with him, and I know now that's probably not really the best thing for brothers and sisters to be together as much as my brother and I were, but yeah, if you have a rebellious teen, it's patience and consistency, and just as much positivity as you can feed them.
Don't give up.
And never give up. I don't think anyone who will have a cystic fibrosis child in their lives were given that child without a reason. And I think all of you are built for it, and I know that you guys will all withstand it, because we are special people. Not to toot my own horn.
I've been trying to come up with a question, but I have two kids with CF, a 9-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter. And my son is fantastic, not rebellious at all, does what he's expected to do.
It's the girl.
And my patience is lacking, so a lot of times it is what it is. It's not fun, it's not positive
Right.
a lot of times. Do you have any advice for me besides patience?
Have you tried maybe looking online on YouTube for videos of people maybe her age and kids struggling, showing them their story? Have you tried actually talking to her about her brother being sick too? I really think trying to get down there and be emotional and try to find something that registers with her is going to be the best thing that you can do. And set a reward system for her doing her treatments. That doesn't work. No. The only thing I can tell you is you just gotta hang in there, and it will get better, because I tell you, I don't like to use the word hate, but I hated my mom growing up, and I thought she was the reason of my every problem with CF. And when they get older, looking back at you being as strong as you were and consistent, they'll never love you more, ever. But this is the hard time, and you're gonna get through it. I promise. And she will love you, and you will be best friends. I swear. Yes.
I think we often hear that on the adult side too.
Yeah.
The mean mother or the mean father turns into, well, they were actually
The best thing
it was the
that
best
ever-
thing that ever happened to me, because I have now learned those habits.
How are you treated by your peers in school?
So my brother and I were polar opposites. He was very, I want to hide everything from everyone. And I was literally, hey, I'm taking my pills with my lunch. This is what I have. You ask me any questions, take it or leave it. So I really was a stronger minded about what people thought of me. So it never really bothered me, but I did get negative comments. But we actually, in elementary school, Mariana helped with this, we had an education day at my school, and she supplied a lot of the material. And we had a whole school assembly, and they talked about my brother and I, because we were coughing and spitting on the playground, you know? Like, people were like, what? That girl has no manners. Like, I couldn't get it out of me. So, you know, it was a struggle growing up, but once I got to high school, I think I was more apt to ignore it, and I was stronger, but it wasn't that bad. Like, everyone thinks, oh my gosh, they're gonna get made fun of, they're gonna get treated bad. It's no different than Johnny down the street who has a lisp, or Sally who doesn't do her homework, you know, like, we're all gonna get made fun of a little bit, but we gotta remember when they come home and they're crying because someone made fun of them coughing or that they were out of school, you just have to remember to tell them to remain calm and just explain to their peers, you know, I have an illness I have to go in the hospital for. If you need to make fun of that, then I'm sorry, but this is my life. Just stand up for themselves. Yes?
With new lungs and the CF, I know you're probably on a lot of medicine for rejection stuff, but on the CF part of it, is it like starting over, or is it more? My son's young, he's only 7, so I don't.
Yeah, it is like starting over because you're learning how to breathe again. You're learning how to navigate life with energy. I find myself crying a lot now because I feel like I'm being useless because I don't really know how to time manage because I was so used to doing everything so slowly that I never really had a schedule. So I think that's starting over a lot and readjusting to a faster paced life is definitely a little bit of a shock. But as for like the regimen part, I don't have to do my best. I don't have to do nebulizers. I mean, that's a freedom I've never had, and that's amazing in itself. But, you know, like, there is the other stresses too with the worries. But yeah, it was a lot like starting over. I wouldn't say that it wasn't, yeah, definitely.
No, can I ask why you don't do your best and stuff now? Is that for?
Because the new lungs aren't infected with CF. I don't have mucus in my lungs like I did before.
Will it stay like that forever?
It will. Like right now I'm coughing a little more than I would because I had something viral. But I have a compromised immune system now because of all the anti-rejection drugs. So that's definitely a worry about being in public and.
So I didn't know that. I just assumed.
If I could, I think the simple thing is it's somebody else's DNA in the skin tissue.
Okay.
So there's no CF in that skin tissue.
So
And there won't be.
But I still have CF in my sinuses, in my digestive tract, in my pancreas. I still have cystic fibrosis. It's just not affecting the lungs now.
Tell them some of the things you can do now.
Okay, so.
You know him?
Yes, my boyfriend. So he wants me to talk about things I can do now. So a couple months ago, we went to Puerto Rico and I hiked through the rainforest all the way to a really amazing waterfall, which is something I never, ever would have been able to do. I'm in pulmonary rehab and I'm running, which I haven't done since I was 15. So, I don't know, it's just like I can eat now. Before, my lung function actually, my FEV1 dropped to 14% predicted. So my struggling to breathe, I was burning so many calories, I was so little, I had a feeding tube, I had my port, and just walking to the bathroom was a very daunting thing for me. But I think, I didn't speak about this, but one of the things when your lung function gets that low, it's a very painful life. You have to walk slow, you get dizzy, your legs hurt, your body hurts, your back is killing you from the coughing and the throwing up, and it's a very painful life, but the key that I found to staying alive for transplant was getting myself in the sunshine every single day. If it was snowing or raining, I would go to the mall with my oxygen and walk laps. If it was sunny and nice out, I would take my elliptical outside and pedal in the sun. You can't stay in bed. You can't stay on the couch. It will kill you. You have to get up, no matter how painful it is. You have to keep your body moving, and that's what kept me alive. That and my parents. Yes.
How can we find you on social media?
My name's Ashley Durand, so I'm on Facebook. Most of my stuff is public on there. I have a link to my YouTube on Facebook and on Instagram. But you can find my Instagram through my Facebook page as well. And add me as a friend. I love talking to parents. I love talking to the kids. I love, I'm there for whoever needs me, and I'll make the time. It's important to connect with CFers. It helps us all. It's very healing.
Tell them why you changed.
In 2008, and my mom is crying right now, I changed because I lost my brother. That complete year, he had a lung transplant, and it wasn't his lungs that killed him. He actually had digestive problems that were pretty much unfixable at that point. He got a blockage. He was benign. It was my parents' decision to shut off his life support because basically, very slim chance he would make it, but if he made it, he would have been on IV intravenous for the rest of his life in the hospital, and that was not anything my brother ever would have wanted to do. I think he would have been angry if he woke up that way. But going through that experience, it was very eye-opening, very struggling, but it made me realize this wasn't just a thing that people were talking about. This wasn't just a idea of you have to take care of yourself. It was real. It turned into a very real thing very fast for me. I went into a very deep depression for a year. I couldn't eat. I couldn't really see straight. It was a very painful process. But once I found out that I had the chance to do it and do it right, I picked my feet up, and Dr. Zuckerman put me back on track, and he called me periodically at nighttime just to check and make sure I was okay. And those are the doctors we want. We want people that love us, care for us, and pick us up, not in just a medical way, but in a heartfelt way. And everybody at Maine Medical has done that for me. So everyone's been more. So this woman right here, she doesn't know this, but I'll tell you anyway. When my brother passed away, she sent me this card about hummingbirds that I still have in the very top of my jewelry box, and I read it periodically because the words that she put in there carried me into being a stronger woman, and that's why I'm standing right here today. So. Yes.
I so admire you for your strength and courage to speak to us today. That was incredible. Thank you for sharing your story. Have you heard about Community Voice and BreatheCon for the CF Foundation?
Yes, I have. I actually almost reached out once, but I wasn't sure that I was ready. I have a lot of influx of emails right now that I'm still trying to get back to because I have my YouTube story I put online, and I started a CF page for my fundraising, and a lot of people they nag me for updates, and it's like, I'm trying, so, and a lot of people have questions about the process and about just life in general with CF, so, I'm very determined to get back to everyone, so, that's why I haven't reached out to those programs, but I would be very interested in talking to you about that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Okay. Yes.
What work do you do, or did you do, or you're going back to do? Talk about work.
So, unfortunately, can't go back to the job of my dreams that I did have. I actually got a job with a software engineering company out of Portland, Maine, which they have recently sold and went corporate. So that's why I'm not going back there. But that was the most fulfilling job of my life, not because I was working, but because that company took me on and saw me as an individual with cystic fibrosis, and they empowered me by giving me my own choice of schedule. They allowed me to have my sick days. They brought work to me in the hospital. You need to find an environment that for your children to work in that's very flexible for them. And a lot of CF patients find at-home work to be the most flexible, but you gotta give companies a chance. Talk to them, give them the real deals, tell them about your disease. A lot of people are actually willing to work with you. They work with your schedule as long as you show you're willing to fight for that company. And that's what I did. I stood up and told them I would give them everything I had, and I did. And they gave me everything they could in return. And it wasn't, they weren't favoriting an employee. They gave these options to everybody after I started. They implemented free work schedules. As long as you put in 40 hours a week, they didn't care what time you came in or left. So it was a very, very empowering company to be a part of.
You're coding?
I was doing orders, so I was inputting all the orders, talking to all our foreign partners and placing orders for them, and I would often do shipments because it was just USB ports or CDs we would ship, so I would do that too. So I got to move around and talk to people, and it was really fun too because we were international, so we'd have like summits every year, and we'd meet all the international partners, and I felt like I was this like big hot shot when I was just like the low man on the totem pole. That was my job.
What are you gonna do now?
Whatever I want. I might go back to school part-time for some stuff, so I don't know. The slate is wide open for me, so I'm very excited.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah.